but there's always a chance that we can.
Over a mile ahead of Alex, the race leader is about to crest the hill. It's Riley, first out of the trees, summiting Cardiac in 49:23, an 8.5-minute improvement over her last year's time.
I think at Cardiac, I don't remember looking at my watch because I was so excited. I was like, I'm in first, they're pouring water on me. I'm like, I gotta keep going, I can't stop to look at my watch.
I could just hear people screaming. Here's number one, and there's number two, and it's Melody. And we got, and as you say, it was about 40 seconds. She did crest it quicker than me, and the reason why I think I gained again on her was, as I started out again, I think I grabbed water. Quickly, and ahead of me, she was bending over and she was getting sick.
I got way too hot, and I was like, oh, my stomach, and I stopped and was like, I gotta throw up. My mind was like racing, and I was thinking, oh God, Melody, she's just gonna pass me now. She's super fast on the downhills. I have no chance of winning. I am stopped here. I just threw up. There's no more chance. This is over.
We were very close to one another, and we stayed that distance from one another. I think, oh gosh, getting on the last stretch just to swoop. I kept thinking, gosh, I wish I was in front of her.
70-year-old Hans Schmidt summits Cardiac in third place, 90 seconds behind Melody. Hans started 2 minutes ahead of Russ, but beat him to Cardiac by 30 seconds.
I think I wanted to be there at 50 anyway, which is, before I used to always think 45, and I think my best was like 37, years before. I keep thinking of those things, but I think it was like 52. It's not going to go great, but I felt okay. But just, age is catching up, I think. I wasn't injured or anything. It was just not my day for sure.
The top of Cardiac is the high point and the turning point of the Dipsea. The race changes from uphill to downhill, to favoring speed and endurance over strength and power. The finish is 3 miles of very fast and often treacherous downhill running ahead. In a way, it's a whole new race. Roy's Cardiac split is 37:08, 13 minutes faster than Melody. But he's still 6 minutes back, and will likely need every bit of the remaining 3 miles to close the gap, which says nothing about the lead he holds over Alex, closing in behind him.
Cresting it, I knew Mark and Gus were behind me. I had no idea how many people were in front of me. I was feeling pretty good going into the second, or I guess, the last couple miles downhill. I really tried to open it up on the top leading into the swoop. A lot of people get to the top of that and you can see them and they're just they're done. They've, in their mind, not whether or not physically they're done, mentally they're like, I'm at the top, it's all downhill from here, I can recover, I can rest. And they use that first quarter mile or so to really recover and then start pushing on the downhill. And for us being able to move and make up even more places than we normally would, I think, is a big advantage. Heading that downhill, I felt good. It was, time to move, and my legs responded as I hoped they would.
Incredibly, it's 8-year-old Riley and 68-year-old Melody still together up Insult, less than a mile and a half from the finish. Melody had passed Riley on the downhill, but Riley has just reclaimed the lead.
I was able to pass Melody on Insult, and I was like, okay, this is probably my only chance because the rest of this is just a little part of street and single track in the last sprinting place. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to pass her on Insult because I sprint up Insult and I practiced it and passed my dad up Insult too. So I'm like, this is my chance.
On Panoramic, I thought, all right, just take it as fast as your legs can take it, and I did. And then I got down onto the thing, and somebody stood there and said, you can do it, come on, you can go. And I did, and I really started going down. But no sooner was I really starting to stretch out, but I was on my feet again.
So last year I was injured. I had double hip surgery, and I had the patella knee injury. I did almost run when I actually got there that day, but I'd done it the prior 2 years run injured, and thank God I didn't run injured last year. But so for me, I was looking at it kind of go, okay, well, who is going to win this thing? I looked at Melody, and Melody ran the same time in the Memorial Day race she did 2 years prior, which was a record for 68-year-olds or whatever she was that year. It was a great race. I said, oh, Melody's in shape. Then I looked, and who beat Melody in the 10K but Riley by like 2 minutes. I go, okay. She beats her by 2 minutes in the 10K. She got a good chance to beat her in the Dipsea. So I go, I like going to horse races. I like betting and things like that. So for me, I go, yeah, that looks like, it could be Riley Melody.
I must admit, when I got to that point, I thought, you're here, you're feeling good, this is our race. It's only Riley and you. There's nobody behind you. Don't even think there's anybody behind you, was what I was saying to myself. It's just you and her.
I was thinking she couldn't pass me on the streets because I thought she couldn't pass me on the streets because I could fly down the streets. And the single track, you can't really pass anybody in that part. And the only part where she could pass me is on the last finishing stretch. And I'm like, ooh, but I can sprint that super fast. But she's won it 3 times and she might be a fast sprinter too, so I had no idea what was in store for me.
Melody is a world-class runner and a world-class racer. And I think Melody was running and racing, and I think she was probably flabbergasted that this 8-year-old was there, but when you race, you're ready for anything. And so she was ready for it, and she probably just kept going and said, well, I'll see what happens. And she'll probably, blow up somewhere or another, but I hope she doesn't, because she's probably rooting for her at the same time as I would have been. And I think she said, and I would be thinking the same exact thing, that if I caught her at the finish line, I wouldn't have passed an 8-year-old. I would have gone across with hands up. But I think that what Melody hadn't thought about was she wasn't going to catch her at the finish line.
I was feeling excited. I thought it was in kind of a dream. I was like, hold on, how is this possible? It wasn't coming to me right away like, you won! I can't believe I beat a 3-time champion and everybody else in the race. I was so happy and excited for myself.
So that's the story of how the 8-year-old girl won the 100-year-old race. In the end, Riley and Melody were too good. Roy finished 3rd, about a minute back, and Alex 4th, 30 seconds later. Mark finished in 6th, while Russ had to settle for 18th place, and Jamie, suffering from a runner's injury, walked the final miles to the finish, cheering on runners as they passed. Although the top runners didn't come together and cross the finish line holding hands, the 100th Dipsea turned out to be a pretty good race.
I could not honestly in myself put things in there like I could have gone faster, or I should have gone faster, or maybe if I'd pushed a little harder I would have done it. No, I thought, no, that wasn't in my mind at the time. I was really enjoying it. I was really enjoying just being out there with her. Maybe in my mind I was thinking, well, is she going to last? You know, is she going to last the whole way? But she did. And that's what made me hold her in awe, because that little girl ran a race well beyond her years and maturity. She was fantastic.
The really cool thing about the Dipsea, I mean, there's a lot of cool things, but we've got people from Marin in this area who are national age class champions. Look at Shirley Matson. She holds all kinds of national records. Melody holds world records in the marathon and other things at their age groups, right? And I think that one of the reasons that happens is because those people are able to train and compete in the Dipsea. I mean, they can, they can get up in the morning and say, sure, I'm 65 years old or I'm 70 years old or whatever, but I got to get out there and run my 6 miles, and do my hill repeats or whatever, because I can win this thing, And if it's not an age handicap race like that, then you're not competing for that. I mean, you don't get the first place trophy for winning your age group in a marathon somewhere, And here you do. I mean, you're the local star for a year, which is, I think, it's really great.
Granted, it's, in the great scheme of things, it's minuscule. But the people who know it and know what it takes to do it, they really respect what people are able to do on that. And even if you can be the last runner section, but the fact that you got into the race, the fact that you showed up on race day and you finished, people respect you for that. Even it doesn't matter how well you finish. The fact that you ran the Dipsea or you ran, it's big. It's just different.
It's more than just another race. I always tell people who don't run that, to me, the finish line is like the Olympics, or what I imagine the Olympics to be, because you have all the crowds cheering. You're at a beautiful setting, Stinson Beach, and then the walk to wherever you're sitting can take 90 minutes. It's almost like a wedding every year, where you get to go through the receiving line and people say, "How was your race?" or "What happened?" and you see people all bloody and dirty, and that's the part where, if you think about that too much, it's not just another race.
The mania about the Dipsea really is about a group of people who all agree this is the most important race. The reality is that we, the runners, imbue this race with great importance.
On a day like this, I mean, there's 1,000 stories here, 1,500 stories more. Everybody's got a story. And this is 100 years of 1,000 stories. It doesn't get any better than that.
When the sun shines down on her green and gold gown, sleeping lady opens her eyes, waking up the shadows and chasing the fog out of a clear blue sky. Around her is a garden filled with flowers and trees, grassy meadows, streams and stones. Through this place there winds a trace the Dipsea race calls home. Well, through the park, across the bridge, up the stairs they go. From the valley floor to the mountain top, to the beaches down below. Flowers blend in scented winds that cast a magic spell. The rhythm of those running feet make music down.
At some point, a race, an event like this stops becoming an event and it becomes an institution. It's not just the committee, it's also the runners and the community and the spirit behind it. We love this race. So we'll keep it up another 100 years. Thank you.
Well, dancing down the mountainside, past the tallest redwood trees, past the rocky cliffs and the grassy hills, they smell the ocean's breeze. crescent turn of Stinson Sands marks the end, it seems. The beauty of the Dipsea will forever paint your dreams.